Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for September 25th through October 1st, 2023. So, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who's returning to this weekly series and to also welcome anyone who might be new to our Angelic Wisdom community. Just a little bit of an update. This has been incredibly um, busy period in a week. I did have my um, job interview for a music teacher um, this past Thursday. And so I'm, been doing this for a couple of months, and not this particular one, but there've been several opportunities that I was applying for, and so part of me is definitely relieved to be at the end of that because it's very stressful, but it also just was a lot of sort of inner soul work, and um, some might refer to as shadow work because I really had to, a lot of things that were coming up for me during the process. And overall, I think I grew so much from it and learned so much from it. And I think what's really important right now is something that believe I discovered. There were some things on the day that really went wrong in terms of technology and trying, in particular, actually. Um, Not so much during the process of the interview period, which was an all day process, but before. Um, and it was sort of glitching, and it made me, um, at the end of the day, this occurred to me about what many of you and all of us are doing right now is that we're being really guided to make a lot of different changes in our lives. Our hearts are really calling us onto a new path, and we're looking and searching for those changes in our physical world, and it is a huge part of that. Things in our physical reality are being changed, but that what is being changed is really the heart-based connection to how we the heart-based connection that we've had to the world, our physical, our outer reality. That is what's really the huge change component behind all of the movements or actions that we're making. And in this process, we're struggling to, I'm saying the word management, to really manage. And I feel like they put it in that form, management, like as a noun, because it's sort of like a management team or a management process. And the process of management for one's life and the soul within the life. And I just got this little fruit fly in front of my face. And kind of odd. There's no fruit in my room. But I noticed the fruit flies, one, like there wasn't a bunch of just this one. And it kind of represented to me distortions and it got right in front of my eyesight, actually. So there's some kind of disruptions. Now we're feeling these disruptions, and they might be coming through technology or they might be coming in other ways. Those disruptions are the new ascension frequencies, okay, um, or signals or codes. I'm not sure if I'm finding the right word that they wanted to bring through. And so it's almost coming across as disruptive and challenging rather than the sort of the way that we think about these things is sort of pure light based, right? And so pure light based for us, it would sort of represent, I'm saying the word magical frequencies, magical events, um, higher consciousness, all these terms and perspectives that we have about the path of light. I'm saying the word syncopation again, which is to say that in music, off the beat, right? So it's kind of throwing us off the beat. But syncopation is actually really is what makes music exciting, right? Fun and pleasurable. Um, that it's not beating with our hearts, but beating against our hearts. Where the music just pulls you and tugs, it pulls and pushes your body um, into off of that sort of sterile or sort of predictable um, pulse and drags you off of it where you find it in those gray areas or with those sort of this, I don't know if it's gray area but the right word, but you find pleasure, you find um, flexibility. That's a better um, yeah, you find more flexibility and possibility within your ability to move and your ability to listen, to your ability to reflect, your ability to experiment, right? So, so the distortions are intentional and they are divinely intentional and divinely guiding you to help you to not rely on the management, this establishment of, and I don't know where it's coming from, but it's an establishment of control. It's really the ego, right? And this control factor of the ego, um, you know, creates this control, this management through fear. Fear that if you don't do what is perceived as the right thing at the right time or do it the right way, meaning perfect, that um, you're going to be faced with all kinds of consequences, limits. So it perpetuates a cycle of being caged. Whereas something just came to me about this syncopation as I was saying that. There's a liberation. We have free will, and we're imperfectly perfect. There, we're all trying to walk the straight path, do the right thing, even and we've put this in our relationship with the divine. Oh, I gotta be perfect in order to please God. So therefore, there has to be this right way of doing things. There has to be the right way of saying things. There has to be everything has to be right. And what is all of that really? But the management of control. It's not the ascension path that you're walking on. It's just is disguised as the good. And so therefore, we're having to we're getting these distortions in the management system of the ego. And so, as you are honoring your heart and making shifts and changes and moving in directions that are might seem a little bit off your path, beaten path, beat is in steady beat. When I just saw another word that was interesting, maybe the support. There it goes. See it again. The universe is trying to support you in the realigning with the foundation of unconditional love, which is freedom and support and respect and support for that freedom, free will. It's okay if you don't say the right things at the right time. It's okay if you think that you have not lived your best life. That's okay. Because you can never get it wrong. That's the whole point. There is really no right or wrong. You will always be where you need to be because there's a team that you worked with before coming into this experience, and you set forth a a curriculum for yourself. And there was nothing about the curriculum that ever said pass fail. That's hard for us to believe, that there isn't a pass fail, that there aren't tests or exams. You just came here to grow. You just came here to assist and support certain missions like the ascension of the planet, raising the vibration, restoring healing to karmic debts and ancestral karma. You came here to let go, to surrender ultimately, and to have the freedom to play in this dimension and with your free will choices. You are never going to be clipped or benched or any way, shape, or form. So it's really important for us to, and I'm just seeing a cup or a chalice, and it looks like the Ace of Cups, but it's a wider brim, and it's just, you can see the water just flowing over and pouring, but it also looked like the water was suspended. Now, it's like there's so much, and I don't know if it offers me the opportunity to see just how much, so many. So this is the interesting thing about abundance. I think they're giving me this sense that there's so much. That cup is always overflowing. There's enough for everyone. The cup of love is abundant in resources. There's enough for everyone. It just, the cup seems to keep replenishing itself. And so we can all infinitely drink from the cup whenever we need, for whatever we want. We can have what we need. Because it's the love, the practice of love, that keeps the cup regenerating. And even when we, in our sort of management system, think that we have to be good in order, let's say, for that cup to keep filling. But it is the source whose love is permanent and perfect, so that it'll never run dry, and it will always be brimming over, because it is always regenerating. And it is, if anything is spilling over, it's because we're not drinking enough. We're not remembering that we have this fountain that we can drink from endlessly. So many people forget that it's there. And we've been living for eons of time since the original fall on a paradigm of fear, on the foundation and a system of fear, pillars and walls and, whole 9 yards, tall skyscrapers of ego. I mean, what do you think all of those phallic symbols are? It was the era of the ego, the how do you want to say, um, the patriarch, right? Society. Now we're moving the foundation of love. We're moving into what would hopefully be a balanced society of the divine mother and a divine father aspect, energies, just talking about, not gender. And so right now, they're writing the word dialogue. The divine mother and the divine father sort of system of our society is starting to talk to each other, but it seems like they're just fighting all the time. But the fighting of the different political systems, however this is manifesting, right, in our society today, these polar opposites, all of this and all of the sort of the warring, as we know, whenever something tragic happens, the love, once the despair, hits, it really just opens up love. I just remember 9/11, and I've never felt such an incredible amount of love that seemed to just be across the planet. Because that's the only thing that exists. When fear goes too far, what happens is the illusion of fear has to break. Because it can't regenerate itself, it can't produce anything. So if we ever push ourselves too far to the edge, we're always going to find this well of love. Just replay anything in your life, any moment that you've had something tragic happen. It could be like you failed at something, but there's a sense of relief, that comes. That's one initial response of love. And then you might eventually, um, you might just feel like, well, and love is displayed in so many different ways. So it's not like love where all of a sudden I'm talking about like every time you're just happy again. No, but what I'm talking about is love that might show up in the form of, you know, let's say you failed it. Let's say if I you don't get the job, right? And all of a sudden there's this vulnerability, because before you were just trying to control, and now you don't want anybody to see who the fear, that your insecurities, and afterwards you just feel vulnerable. You're open to talking to people about how you were feeling and all this stuff. That that's a relief. That is love. And there are so many expressions of love that don't seem ideal or perfect in the way that our imaginations consider love. But love can meet us wherever we are. Even someone who's suffering from an addiction, and they might be just sitting there just crying, you know, about their lives. That moment, that vulnerability, that is love. It's not the love that's pretty, but it's love. The person may not be able to move past the addiction of the moment or whatever is going on with them, but they're releasing. And so maybe an initial stage of love out of great despair and fear might be something like relief or or release, or some process of releasing. Like our grief when we lose someone. Crying, grieving is a response of love. One, because you're grieving because you loved them, you missed them, you cared for them. Bereavement is love. It is the response to something tragic. And then what we try to do is hold ourselves and hold up this mirror of impossibility, that we have to be XYZ. We have to be perfect. We don't want to get stuck. We don't want to stay there. But you want to allow that love to really keep working with that love. I think when we get stuck is when we stop acknowledging our initial stages of release or relief or expression, when we stop um, being aware as we're going through it and getting support as we're going through it. And so, this is the thing about connecting to the foundation of love. We can't expect to forget to connect into the foundation of love, first of all. Then we have to learn to ask for support from our angels, from the earth angels, the people in our communities, um, our professionals in our communities. Be willing to be vulnerable, because you will be vulnerable, but you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to go through the process in order to truly come into alignment, which does not mean perfection with the divine, not in the way that we mean it or we think, not from the way that we think about passing tests, doing the right thing, never making mistakes. No, that's not it at all. That's the total opposite of what is meant by what they're telling me to say to you. And they're saying it to me at the same time. Once you do start this practice of love and connecting to the foundation, and let those distortions be a sign that you are actually shifting, that you're now starting to, so when you're seeing these distortions in your day or things that are going wrong, not according to the perfect way that you wanted things to be, that is because your fear-based reality is glitching. The fear foundation is gone, but you're still projecting the phantom memories of it. And so you're not allowing yourself, or have not been allowing yourself, to see this new possibility. And so it's like a program, and it's like if you were on a computer, you're playing a game, and it just kept going zzz, and it kept glitching, or the screen kept, you know, whatever it does. That's because that there's a bug, right? But here, in this sense, it's because there this is no longer serving you. That's the bug. This is no longer serving you. But more importantly, because you're not going to be able to do anything about it in that moment because you're human. But what you need to recognize is my reality is shifting. I'm stepping onto the ascension path. And my phantoms, from the phantom projections of fear, are acting out. I'm having trouble letting go. That's really what it is. Nothing's acting out. We're just having trouble letting go. So, what's happening politically, everything we see in the world, the way people are reacting to things, they're having trouble letting go of the new reality that is emerging within them at this time, the reality of unconditional love. And so, we all now need to connect into this foundation of unconditional love. All right, let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with this week. And it's Archangel Raziel. And it says, seek and you will find. Be a wise one. So Archangel Raziel is the archangel of, he's like the wizard archangel in terms of divine alchemy. This makes sense, the message that we've just heard. And he writes the word resignation. Either you need to resign yourself to be open to the vulnerabilities that you're feeling right now, as they are the activations for you to sort of embrace the release of the old reality, the projection of this illusion. So you're projecting the illusion, and they're trying to put in, and you are actually already the possibilities are there, the opportunities are there for you to live your higher reality. And so the technology is glitching to as a sign, okay, make the shift, embrace, right? Be vulnerable, because they understand we're in a human process. We're moving from a three-dimensional to a fifth-dimensional reality. So we're coming out of that three-dimensional mindset. And so they are preparing us and supporting that. And the first thing that the three-dimensional mindset does when it experiences loss or things going wrong, things not going the way it was supposed to, when the control factor is challenged, we are vulnerable in some way. We might act out in rage. That could be a facet of the grieving process, right? So that see, when we start thinking about right and wrong, we can't see the truth. So rage could be an expression of vulnerability, I believe it is, and then therefore love. It's just the way that you gotta process, move through in order to really embrace what we consider, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but divine love, right? It's the path. But the thing is, here's the thing. There is no door between the ego that the ego has access to, or that we can exit from within the ego, that does not lead to love. Within the ego, everything seems to lead to a consequence, either or fate, either one of fortune or misfortune. But when you decide to step out of the doors of the ego, there is only one road. There are many roads, rather, but they all lead to Rome here: oneness, love, unconditional love. So now, what Archangel Raziel is saying is that you're in the seeking phase. Don't be afraid to seek outside of your box. outside of your comfort zone. That's where the freedom really begins. And yes, the vulnerability, the grief, the enormous amount of fear, anxiety that's so pervasive right now. And it's starting to sort of feel like everybody's being swept up by it more and more. That is the alarm for that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you are standing, choosing to stand on your ascension path. You are standing on the foundation of love. That's why your anxiety is going off, because your ego doesn't know what to do. There's no control. This is a new system. Who am I? What am I supposed to do? There's something wrong with me. And it's going to use everything to draw you back in. And that's why they were talking about connecting into the foundation, not just of love, but it's unconditional love. And with this comes peace, joy, pleasure, anything that you need. So make sure you ground into the foundation, the new foundation of unconditional love, and embrace, be vulnerable, see the signs for what they truly are and not what your ego, the management system, tells you to fear about it. And that's what he means by be a wise one. You know what your soul has done this eons and eons and eons of times ago on another planet or probably in another universe has already ascended, and you mastered it, and you were a master for eons of time after that. You were called here because you had the specific mastery skills to transmute fear, to shift successfully onto the ascension path. And when as you do this, we all bring the planet, the cosmos, they're writing, even into the entire cosmos is shifting up. So we're shifting to the fifth, they're shifting up even higher. All right, let's take a look at the first card for the beginning of the week. The King of Fire. So this is clearly pointing out that you got this. You are a powerful leader. This King of Fire is fire, fire energy, right? That is double fire. So you have the passion. You have more passion than you think you have. You have more strength. Whatever you think you have, the King of Fire says it's doubled at a minimum. Whatever it is that you have to go, whatever you're going through right now, you have double the ability, capabilities to deal with this. You are an ascended master, hiding in an illusionary reality of whatever it is that you think you are. But it's the opposite of all of that. The opposite of all of that. You are a clear master. And this means if you focus on your vision, so you have to have a goal at this time. And it has to be one that's fueled by the fire of your soul. And that means that that mission is indicated by your heart. Listen to your heart, follow it, trust the visions, the imagine, whatever comes into your imagination, believe in it, go with it. You're going to feel vulnerable about being powerful, very vulnerable about being powerful, because we have a concept, we have a toxic masculine idea of what power is. And just because he's the king of fire, double power, he's the king of, of the soul, love, unconditional love. He blazes that love through incredible creativity and expression. And so if you put yourself in the areas where you're spiritually fed, where you get the highest highs, when you engage in whatever is your spiritual interest, your spiritual passions, the syncopation word, those things that don't fit in the box, those things that set you apart, that's what you're here to be. You're not here to be a part of the ego's control where everybody is like plays is like a cog in a system, right? You know, you weren't made to be boxed into a corporate structure. There, these structures that we've built, these systems of opportunities we call jobs, have boxed in people's ability as if there's only one way for us to grow, and that is underneath someone else and underneath someone else and underneath someone else, a pyramid scheme, so to speak. And I'm not telling people to leave their jobs. This is not what this is about. Because it's not about the system. You were always free no matter what system is in place. That's what you're here to learn. That's what those systems, why they're there, because you want to break the rules. You don't ever want to be with anybody. None of us. I mean, I know I don't like being, but we keep being drawn into them, to follow them, to be a part of them, because we don't want to be left out, vulnerable. And everything that we know to be vulnerable, we have labeled the opposite of power, weakness. So therefore, we have interpreted and therefore have created a response to vulnerability as something to run away from, to ignore, and to not to give into it. What you are denying is this unconditional love, this unconditional fire that is the impetus for your free will. The thing you're running towards is the thing that will put out that fire and free will. And this is why they're saying the glitches are happening because you need to be vulnerable. Because that's the door. That's the door for the within the ego to free yourself. You want to step out of this illusion? Go to be in your vulnerability. Be with love, or this anger or grief or fear. Go to that door. Like, remember that movie, Go to the Light, Carrie Ann, whatever her name was. Go to the light, go to the light. Okay? It's masked as fear, but go to the light. Wow, another court card, the Queen of Water. It's indicating a very sensitive time that we're experiencing a lot of sensitivity. And sorry today that it's very dark. I can probably brighten this up. I don't know how it's going to look on the camera when it comes out, but I'll take a risk. Um, well, let's see what happens. So, the Queen of Water, she's in tune, as you can see, to everything above and around her and below her. You're feeling it all right now. And that's scary, but that's also vulnerability. That means that that's the proof that you're in the new paradigm, that you're connected to the foundation of love. Like I said, the anxiety is because we're all feeling everybody's uncomfortability with the sort of apparent increase in vulnerability, in our sensitivity. Our wiring is more extensive. It's a whole new technology. like when people talk about the 12 strands of DNA versus the two, it's sort of like that. It's a boost in all of your spiritual technology. You're going to either be more clairvoyant or more claircognizant or more clairsentient or clairaudient. And it doesn't have to be just psychically. Your senses, five senses, might have increased, because that is one conductor factor for your 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 clairs, so to speak, your spiritual sights or senses. And so, but here is the sort of the quantum computer. Ooh, that's amazing, right? This vulnerability is the advanced quantum computer that can process stuff at the speed of light. This was the system that they had in Golden Atlantis, so that telepathically they could, you know, communicate um, without having to, like, everything was immediate and transparent, right? Um, they had the ability to see and sense from hundreds of miles. That thoughts and ideas were transferred at the speed of light, so that's why they lived in this high frequency, because there was absolute clarity, no room for illusion, for deception, or to be, so nobody, because you could just see it, you would perceive it before the person would utter it. But instead they were also focused on keeping each other's vibrations high. You're going to feel less separation in this fifth dimensional reality. So right now we're all trying to push it, resist, because we're panicking about, because we're so used to the projections of the 3D reality that we're used to being scared, but those are phantom projections. And look at this, there's that Ace of Cups, not the same picture. I'm sorry, I'm shaking this a lot because I'm trying to shift the light in. I just don't want it to be like bleached later on. But here we have that Ace of Cups. And it's sort of like the message here is, no matter what you're experiencing through your sensitivity, no matter how much you're afraid of power, and it's interesting, we have a divine masculine and divine feminine. We actually have fire, fire, and water, water. Like the page of earth would be earth, earth, because all the pages are earth, all the queens are water, all the kings are fire in one system. Some people switch the knight and the king, but I like this. The knight of air would be air, air. So it's interesting that we have double power here, personalities, in the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But in actuality, in these card presentations, they are almost balanced masculinity and balanced femininity, right? They're the balanced divine mother and father. That with all of this, we might be afraid of this power, because here what we're really being told is that this is the true form of the divine masculine when it's balanced with this divine feminine, and it's the same here. And we might be afraid of these two experiences right now, but there is bounty awaiting us. There's opportunities, because the aces introduce opportunities, and that there's plenty of opportunities for us now to um to be nourished, for our souls to find nourishment, to find incredible love, unconditional love, and support, new relationship dynamics with the reality that we've been exposed to. All right, let's take a look at the card from the bottom of the deck. I did not do this. I just pulled the card from the bottom of the deck. I didn't even see what it was. And the card is the Death card, Release, Archangel Azrael. And so right now, you're being asked to just release, let go. Let go, meaning be vulnerable. I'm sorry, this is going to be a lot of shaking. We have to, we're in a place right now where our vulnerability is the key, the door of transition and transformation. It's transitioning into the fifth dimensional higher frequencies, and it's the transformation of your life from a three-dimensional understanding and perspective to a fifth dimensional mindset. One where you're at peace with the contrast, because that is the cup. Oh my goodness, that's the cup. The contrast, the variety in the universe, that's the cup. And we've been dishonoring it by focusing on right and wrong, imperfect and perfect. You know, we've been separating black, white, whatever it is, gender. We have been so focused on upholding the rules of the management system of the ego that we've been pushing, rejecting, repelling the cup of opportunities, the cup of abundance. So no matter how poor some of us are, or how rich some of us are, or how beautiful some of us are, or okay, we are all not able to fully be authentic, therefore nourished, therefore fulfilled or satisfied, because we are stuck on the ego's system of management. And we're fighting with each other about illusions, things that actually don't exist. There is no gender, no right or wrong, no this or that. That's all. The physical world is an illusion. It's a hologram. It's a projection of our free will to create a tangible experience through which the intangible can find fulfillment, pleasure, peace. It came here to explore, seek, and then to find. And you will always find what you seek, because whatever you are projecting or imagining, whether it's through fear or through purpose or passion, you will find it. You know, like most of us tell ourselves, oh, I want to have a perfect body. And you will find it. Now, here's the thing that you're not getting, because each and every one of us is oneness. We are all each other. There is no other. That's the bigger picture. That's probably the biggest picture of all. There is only source. We are individuations of source, like the ocean and the wave. So the other day, I walked out. I wasn't thinking about it, but I just kept bumping into guys who had the same perfect, beautiful body. And then I realized that I was seeing what I wanted. But my three-dimensional mindset will say, he has it, or he has it, or he has it. I don't have it. That's not true. I saw what I wanted. I experienced it was me. You see, and that's what the fifth dimensional mind would say. And the fifth dimensional mindset doesn't, when something appears, it says thank you, because the universe was showing me, bringing to me what I wanted. Now, when I allow myself to have it, I can also experience it. But when I looked upon it in that way, because that's how I saw it, I realized, oh, this is a good sign. And it's not about just having their body, but it also represents so many things like health. So, you know, gratitude, I have good health right now. And so that's the part I own. And that's the part that's most essential. I mean, that's the core of what their bodies were representing. And all of us can have good health if we first start with the intangible awareness and realities and making sure that they're healthy, then the physical will project health, you see. So we got to release the system. There is only the one. There is not all these others. And then a perfect and imperfect and this black, white, this, that. Let it go. And then you will find that your life will start to project more peace. And you will not feel jealous or envious, but you'll be happy that every time that something you want shows up around you, even if it's not the signature where it says you own it, you owned the experience. You can own the experience of what you saw and how it made you feel. So that welcomes you into the version of that is perfect for you based on the energetic essence of what that projection is really about. All right. So I could go on and on and on, but also just a reminder, if you would like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com, or you can, if you just want to donate to my channel, you can go to my PayPal Me link. All of those things are in the description area below. So have a beautiful week and God bless you.